Hello everyone, Through here. Welcome to the channel. On this channel, we make videos around technology tips, career advice, and inspiration, helping you elevate your career, earn more money working as a tech professional so you can live a better life. In today's video, we're going to be answering a question that came in, and it was a little bit of a fascinating question. I thought the answer might be very relevant for us today. And that question is through, what will you be learning as a tech professional in 2021? What will be your focus as a tech professional of concepts of things to learn going into 2021? So as a tech professional, learning is always very important. You can't just sit on your laurels. Things are always changing. New concepts are always coming up. So as the year is going on, this will be relevant for 2021. And frankly, you'll be very relevant for even beyond 2021. So what are the things that are on my radar I'm going to be paying attention to learn as a technology professional? So that said, I've compiled a list of 10 things. This will be available on the description below, and I'm also going to leave this on my website, so check out the link in the description below to go see the blog post that I wrote on this. And I actually made a comprehensive video just to cover each of this topic. So from a very high level, they're going to be 4 or 5 key areas that I'm going to focus on. Then I'm also going to give you the specific technologies or concepts that I personally will be paying close attention to into 2021. Now, the very first one that I have here on this list is security. Security as a whole is one of those things that is huge. If you paid attention last year, I believe November, December of last year, so we're talking about 2020, there was a huge cybersecurity attack that happened, and it was called, they call it the SolarWinds attack. And FireEye was an organization. I made a video about it, so check somewhere on the channel. You will see the video I made about that attack describing what happened. And that attack is not the last. We know that security is one of those things that organizations are going to have to pay close attention to. It can get really expensive to deal with these security breaches, to prevent them, and just to overall handle it. So paying attention to security will be a very important thing to me. Now, my goal is not to go out and be a security professional. A lot of people who watch the channel are tech professionals who specialize in security. That's not really my specialization, but it's one of those things that you cannot escape it. You can't say, well, I'm a database professional and I care nothing about security, because if there is a security breach and they come steal data from your database, that affects you. Okay, if you're a data scientist and you say, you know what, I care nothing about security, and so I'm not going to pay attention to what's going on in security, well, that would be a flawed approach to take, because guess what, if there is a breach and it affects your model, it affects what you're doing, there's still data from your database or from your data lake that's going to affect you. So security is one of those things that across the board, I don't think you can show me any specialization within IT, within technology, that doesn't touch security. Whether you're doing mobile development, app development, web development, graphics design, almost everything touches security. So really paying special attention to security. What are some of the paradigms? What are some of the innovations? How are companies responding to this? That will be something I'll be paying close attention to. One of the actual specific areas is this idea of the cyber security mesh, because before, the way security used to work was you have a perimeter and you have a firewall around the specific assets or the specific principles you want to protect. And so if someone is gonna come in there, they gotta go through your firewall. Okay, but guess what, if they can get through that firewall and they get into your network, well, they might have access to everything, which is a problem. So what this cybersecurity mesh is doing or is saying is that instead of having just one bastion or one wall to protect all these security assets, that if a Trojan horse comes through or somebody breaches through that, they can get access to everything, you want to put little perimeters or little circles of security, so that if somebody can penetrate through one and they get access to this group of machines, well, they don't have access to everything within your network. So there is some resilience in that perspective. So think about it as a saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think that's the closest analogy I could see for that. Okay, so instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you have many baskets. You put your eggs in there and you hide them in different areas. So if somebody even sees one basket and they might even get at that, they're not seeing every basket within your organization. So paying close attention to security would be a big part for me. Now, the next ones, you guys already know it on this channel, is cloud computing. I think cloud computing is one of those things that has been here for a while. It's going to be the companies are moving to cloud computing at warp speed. So paying close attention to that from AWS, Microsoft, Azure, Google, Oracle, whatever you're doing, you want to pay close attention to cloud computing. I think this is only going to become an even bigger part of it. Now, the next one here is AI and ML. I'll be paying close attention to this. I think that I have a soft spot for AI and ML. I think is the future. If you're not paying attention to the developments that are happening in the AI space, I think you're missing a lot as a technology professional. So just what is going on? I'll give you a quick example here. And I made a video about this with the GPT-3 model that came from OpenAI, which is one of the most massive models they've built. It's a language model. You can ask any question, it seems to give you answers. It can write code, it can do all kind of amazing stuff. Again, check out on my channel for that specific video if I have it released yet. So AI is the electricity of the future. As a tech professional, our jobs, I mean jobs are on the line of this. I saw GPT-3 being able to take natural language and it writes code. It actually develops a web application based on natural language. So this is AI, basically doing the job of software engineers. So you might be a software engineer, a data scientist, a DBA, it doesn't matter. If these advances in AI and machine learning are coming after your job, I think is a very important thing to pay close attention to what is going on. So OpenAI is one of the big organizations. Google for sure is big on this. IBM or Oracle, Microsoft, they all have really amazing AI capabilities to really pay attention to in terms of what's going on around this space. Now, the next one here is looking at work from home. So work from home is huge, and a lot of people are just getting used to this. And it might seem like a surprise why I would make an entire video calling out work from home, but it's very important. Not everybody has worked from home before, and I think by now we're getting to that 1 year period of people that have mostly worked from home to see if this is something they like or they don't like. The vaccine is out right now, but there's no guarantee that we're going to be going to the offices anytime soon. So just understanding the dynamics around working from home or working in a hybrid environment where you work from home on certain days, go to the office, and how to optimize that to be very effective for you, I think it's a great exercise to do going into the next year. I think that sometimes working from home is not something that you just do. You really have to invest in optimizing your experience working from home. Some people just say, all right, I just bought a laptop, so now I got this space and I'm working from home. But what are you specifically doing to optimize your work from home experience? When I started working from home, I've been doing this for maybe 4 years or 5 years now. The very first months were tough. I used to go to the library or go to a coffee shop. I just couldn't phantom sitting in my home, working there all day long and not having a routine. So over time, I really emphasize my mindset on building routines, keeping schedules, doing the segmentation in terms of when I'm doing work, when I'm not doing work, and what I do after work to break away from that, to maintain my mental health so that you don't get that burnout. So really investing in it. I know everyone is working from home now, but have you done the investment and the optimization to make sure that you're working from home in the most optimal way possible for you? I think that would be something to pay attention to going into the next year. Now, the next one here is quantum computing. Quantum computing is one of those things that in physics is very similar to fission, the fission technology, which is supposed to give us almost limitless energy, but it hasn't really come into fusion. So quantum computing is one of those things that it holds a lot of promise for how much it can disrupt technology, but it hasn't come, it's not there yet. You can see it at the infancy. As far as I know, there's about 50 qubits that can be sustained, but it's not there yet. I think we need about 1,000 qubits to really do good computation. But quantum computing is one of those areas in technology that once it materializes, there could be huge disruptions for security, for how we do computation and all of that. So just paying close attention to this, I think, is a very worthwhile exercise as a tech professional. You know, IBM, Azure, they all have quantum computing services. So just paying close attention to it. What is it? Why is it even relevant? What is this qubit thing? I think as a tech professional, that would be a really good area to be aware of. Now, the next one is 5G and 6G. So 5G, you know, is something that has been in the news. A lot of people will be familiar with 5G, and 6G is just kind of new, but the potential for this is huge. So if you think about the Internet of Things and IoT and all these devices that are going to be coming online, it's a big field within technology. And so the current bandwidth that we have now with 4G and 4G LTE doesn't really support that. If you want to have every device in your house connected to the internet, you know, anyone who has routers will know that at some point your routers get really busy. It can't really sustain, you know, people just using it in your house, not to talk about friends that come in to use it. Then imagine if your microwave, your TV, your doors, your speakers, everything is connected to the internet. That needs a lot of bandwidth. And so 5G is really that promise, that frontier to help with that. And there is some political controversy around this for sure. People think that it, you know, causes things. I don't want to get into that, but this is an area to really pay close attention to how this is going to disrupt the entire ecosystem as tech professionals. And there's even the talk of 6G. So something really important. I'm going to leave some links below for you guys to go out and check about 5G and how this can be very helpful. I made an entire video explaining 5G, everything from talking about the millimeter waves and how the spectrum used for sending information has been improved. It uses smaller waves called the millimeter waves. There is this idea of beam forming, that it can actually direct the beam from the antennas in a more optimized way. There is full duplex, and there are many other technologies that goes into making 5G possible, but it's a huge area to pay attention to. Now, building on 5G, I think the next logical one there would be talking about the satellite mega constellation. And this is huge because people don't seem to give this the credibility or the attention I think it deserves. We know Elon Musk has done a lot of amazing stuff. He's done a lot of great stuff. He's built, you know, SpaceX, he's built Tesla, he's done OpenAI and Neuralink and all the things that he's working on. But one of the things that he's doing here is Starlink, which is basically sending a bunch of satellites to low Earth orbit. So not the high orbit where satellites typically will stay, or where the geostationary satellites will stay, but you're sending this to low Earth orbit and sending a bunch of them. So the plan is for about 30,000 of these satellites to be there beaming internet across the globe. So today, for one, I travel a lot. So one of the things I know for sure traveling is, if you leave your metro area and you leave your city and you start going out into the wilderness, into the bush, into, you know, no man's land in the middle of America or wherever you are in the world, it could be very difficult to get good internet connectivity. And so, which is why a lot of people tend to, especially IT professionals, it's like you have to be in the city because you can get the good internet connectivity with fiber optics and all of that. But imagine the situation where you can be anywhere in the world and get as good internet as someone living in some of the good the metro areas in the world. Okay, that really is disruption that on a scale we've never seen before. No, one of the examples here, just to give you a case in point, was a couple of years ago, I work, of course, here in the US. I went back to visit family in Africa, and I had a period there where I had to work. And a lot of my work being a remote worker is I gotta be on the internet, I gotta do video calls, and it's very important on my video calls for me not to be losing it, for them not to be connectivity issues. So when I went back during that period, it was a struggle because I'm gonna be on a Zoom call and the Zoom call just cuts because the internet connectivity there isn't as great. Now I do know there are fiber optics and some of those technologies are there, but it's still not where I would feel comfortable saying that I'm gonna pack my things and just move there and then work from there full time. But imagine a world where Starlink is working, and it doesn't matter if I'm in a jungle in South America, or if I'm in some mountain in Nepal, or if I'm in some village in Africa, or in some wilderness in the US, I get equally as good enough technology. What does that mean for remote work? What does that really mean for where people choose to stay? Because now my boss, he doesn't see me. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in some area in Chicago or if I'm sitting in some hilltop in Nepal. As long as I get my work done, that is fine. So what would that mean for how people actually work? This particular concept of this mega constellation, Starlink in particular, I think that this is something to really pay attention to. There are 5,000 satellites, and I think they're trying to roll out more and more, and it gets to more and more cities. But the potential for disruption here for technology could be very huge. Now, the next one here, this is a concept I think I'm going to read a lot about, and I'm going to spend some time really paying close attention to what's going on, is personalized medicine. This has been around for a while, and specifically is this whole idea of gene sequencing, CRISPR technology, GMO, anything that just has to do with using technology for health and really understanding what's going on in there and some of the advances. We live in a time where health is key. It's very important. Almost everybody's talking about it. And with the genomics and all of the potentials that we have today, there is a lot of advances happening in this area to cure Alzheimer's, to cure cancer, to fight pandemics, that as a technology professional I want to pay close attention to it, and I'll be looking at it very closely going into the next year, into this year and the years beyond. Because take for example the pandemic, a lot of people were using data to fight the pandemic. Now, so you can fight it from the medical front using genomics and gene sequencing and CRISPR and all of those things, or you can fight it from using technology and applying that to medicine. So this is a huge area, and if this is something that interests you guys, this could be an area to really get into. Now, the last but not least one here on the screen is spatial computing. And spatial computing is one of those areas that doesn't get a lot of attention because it is usually attributed to gaming and gamers, and not everybody is a gamer. But the application here could be huge. I came across this not too long ago, so I want to pay close attention to this area. It was started by an individual called Jimon Greenwald, and it really builds on AR and VR. So think about AR being augmented reality, VR being virtual reality. Those are all, you put on gadgets on your face and you kind of interact with your world. But what spatial computing is trying to do, or is doing, is instead of you just interacting with your world in a virtual way, or instead of you just interacting with the virtual world, the virtual world that is projected to your face is actually interacting with your physical world and stuff. So it's a very interesting concept. I've watched a couple of videos about this, and I want to pay close attention to see, are there industries that are going to take advantage of this, like manufacturing or even medicine? Are there companies like startups that are taking advantage of this, like the HoloLens and Facebook and all of those folks? Are there areas, are there advantages of this for like using this for education with like the developing areas, developing worlds, where a kid can sit somewhere in the Sahara or in Africa and get the experience of a classroom here in the US? This is an immersive experience, and interact with it as if they were here without necessarily being here. Almost like teleportation or telepresence. I think this could be a huge area that is still at the infancy to pay close attention to, especially given the potential applications. All right, guys, I think there you have it. This brings us into the main areas of things that I'll be looking at, paying close attention to, learning about, being curious about, going into the next year or into the years ahead. I don't know if any of this surprised you. Did any of it surprise you? Are there other things you're looking at that I might have missed that I should be paying attention to? Guys, please let me know in the comment section below. That always generates an interesting conversation, and I hope this inspires you to go out and to look at technology, be excited about it, be inspired by what people are working on. That's always a great thing to see. Again, thanks for watching. It's been your host, Tech with Fru, signing out.